This is America Weekend. I'm Mike Bennett. Naturalist and farmer Greg Quinn is a regular contributor. He's responsible for bringing black currants back to the U.S. market and grows black currants on his farm in the Hudson Valley, New York.
I'm Greg Quinn with this week's Notes from the Currant Farm. Last week, we talked about the star of the summer garden, the tomato. More people grow tomatoes in this country than any other fruit. But is it a fruit or a vegetable? A botanist would tell you that by definition, tomatoes are considered fruit because a fruit is that part of the flowering plant that develops into a seed-bearing ovule. But cucumbers, squash, pumpkins, peas, beans, and eggplant all fall into this category, and they're usually called vegetables. A cook has a different definition. She would say a fruit is the part of the plant that's sweet, edible, and contains seeds. Well, simple enough, unless you consider my beloved currants, which aren't sweet at all. So let's approach this from the other side and try to define vegetables. The classic definition is any edible part of a plant other than sweet fruit or seeds. That could mean roots, tubers, stems, and leaves. So what about the stems of rhubarb? Fruit or vegetable? It seems the culinary and botanical worlds don't agree on a definition. And what happens when there's a disagreement? Well, of course, call in the lawyers. By law, vegetables are defined by, are you sitting down, how they're taxed. This brings us full circle back to that beautiful tomato, just hanging on the bush out there in the sunshine, not thinking at all about lawyers and politicians. But the great minds in Washington thought long and hard about the tomato, and the matter went all the way up to the Supreme Court. In 1887, U.S. tariff laws imposed an import tax on vegetables, but not on fruits. Vegetables, according to these laws, were defined as any commodities that are taxed as vegetables in a particular jurisdiction. Well, that wasn't really much help. So an action demanding the status of the tomato became a matter of legal importance. The case, Nix versus Hedden, went all the way up to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court justices settled the controversy on May 10, 1893, by declaring that the tomato is a vegetable based on the popular use at the time. The ruling came down to one simple definition. A vegetable is generally served with dinner and not dessert. The one thing I can tell you, that I know to be true, is that there are few pleasures in the world that compare to going out to the garden on a hot summer afternoon when no one else is around, with a salt shaker stuck into the back pocket of your jeans, and plucking the biggest, fattest, juiciest, bright red, sun-warmed tomato, bending way over the rich black garden soil and biting into my definition, sweet, delicious decadence. For a free podcast of this and previous notes from the Currant Farm, go to currants.com. And if you mention that you heard these notes from the Currant Farm on America Weekend, with your next order, I'll personally send you a free gift. Currants.com. That's currants with an A.
With our regular contributor, naturalist and farmer Greg Quinn, I'm Mike Bennett, and you are listening to America Weekend.